Welcome to the PTUK Christmas Extravaganza. And it's safe to say that we've got a star-studded lineup of guests joining us on today's Christmas show. We're going to kick off first with, I think we shall start with Captain Jeff. Jeff, welcome on to the PTUK Christmas special.
Well, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes, we can hear you, Jeff.
I'm sorry. I'm having some difficulties, which is very unusual for...
I've never heard that before.
Anyway, hello, everybody, and Merry Christmas. Great to see everybody.
Good to see you on. Thanks for joining us, Jeff. How have things been with you then?
Oh, until just a few minutes ago, great.
Oh, good.
I'm enjoying my retirement. I'm not officially retired, but I am no longer flying. I'm no longer qualified to fly, and my actual retirement date is coming up day after Christmas. So I'm effectively retired right now.
Oh, wow.
I love it.
Excellent. Excellent. And joining us as well from the Airline Pilot Guys show is the resident retired Airbus captain. It is, of course, Captain Nick. Hello, Nick.
Yeah, we're going to have to rename the show, Jeff, aren't we? The Retired Airline Pilot Guy show. Yeah, I'm doing very well. Thanks very much indeed, Carlos. Lovely to be invited back on. I wasn't expecting the invitation after what happened last year, but perhaps we can put that all behind us now.
No, it's good to see you on, Nick, and obviously looking festive as well, as you always do.
Doing my best, yeah.
Yes. Also joining us on the festive special today is one of our super subs who we have on the show very frequently. He's he's an aficionado of all things Airbus as well. It is, I should say, Captain Andy.
Oh, I knew you were going to do that. Hello, Merry Christmas.
Looking very festive there.
Birthday. Yeah, I've got me festive top. I'm not in the pub tonight because it's -5 out there. It's too cold.
Too cold, yeah. Well, at least you do have your home pub. You don't have to go out to go to a pub.
That is true, but I think I'll go to a pub later on because it'd be warmer in there.
His home pub. Honestly, you're so lucky. How are things with you, Andy? You all good?
Yeah, good. Yep, nice and busy in the run up to Christmas.
And the schedule is looking good for Christmas? No flying anywhere?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm off all Christmas. It's lovely.
What, you're not going to be flying me to Fuerteventura on the 23rd then?
No, but Matt can do that.
Okay, I'll ask him. Matt, welcome on to the show. He's back. Good to see you on.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Good. You can't sort of plan yourself for a flight on the 23rd then from Luton to Fuerteventura?
I am flying that day, but I'm not doing that, unfortunately.
Oh!
I know. I'm flying Boxing Day as well, but I do have Christmas Day off, so that's good.
Oh, that's good. Good. At least you're around. But how's the flying going? Busy?
Yes, all very good. It's just calming down a bit now for winter. Very, very busy summer. And looking forward to a bit of a quieter time in the winter. I'm part-time during the winter, so it just gives me a bit more time. So, yeah.
Right, excellent.
Things, really.
Excellent. Well, it'll be a shame. I shall miss you on the 23rd. Although I might go and pop up on the flight deck and see the guys up there and sort of, name drop a few names, I might get...
Yeah.
And also joining us...
It's not going to get you any preferential treatment doing that. In fact, it might make things worse.
What, if I mention your name, Andy?
Don't forget, Carlos, the best thing to do is go running up to the flight deck door and bang on it very hard. Go, let me in.
I might give that one a miss. I'll get Gemma to do that. I'll get the wife to do that. She'll, yeah.
Yeah, if you want a nice quiet holiday, yeah, definitely.
It would be an expensive aftermath, though, wouldn't it? I think, yeah. And,
lovely. Thanks very much for inviting me on.
Yes,
I've got my festive jumper as well. I managed to get an Airbus A320 Christmas jumper.
Oh, British Airways.
Yeah. So,
I like that. Is it chocolate or non-chocolate?
What we got? Chocolate.
Oh.
I thought Andy was asking if it was chocolate.
Only the best.
That's what I thought. It melts all over your chest.
Yeah.
And also joining us on the Christmas special is our main man, Micah.
Hey, great to be here. And I find if you want to get on the flight deck, Carlos, the easiest way is to always bring chocolate for the pilots. I bring it for the flight attendants. They let me on the plane. But once they get on, you bring some chocolate for the pilots. They are eternally grateful. Really nice to be here. And thank you so much for inviting me. And if you notice, I have a little bit of a Barry White voice. I sort of got the time wrong. So here I am a little early.
A little early. Not to worry. And also joining us as well, one of our PTUK master host team. It is, of course, our the legend that is, I should say, Armando.
It's lovely to see everyone. And I'm also technically a retiree, so I'm just waiting to see what these young guys, Matt and Andy, have to say about the show.
Good to have you on, Armando. Obviously, you're flying soon, so as we need to obviously crack on, and because we have a quiz as well today on the Christmas show, which is good. But Nev, you're also joining us as well today. Good to see you, Nev.
Yes, and to see everybody else as well. Brilliant. So yes, I've been spending a little bit of time flying over the last few months, and no shortage of content for Nev's Terminal Tantrums segment, that's for sure, especially after the other day in Dublin. But yes, I will not be short of material for the next year. But of course, February 2025, I shall also be retiring, so I won't be doing quite as much flying as I am at the moment. But let's see what we can do in the meantime, and really looking forward to the Christmas show with the guys here.
Yes, indeed.
I think Andy and I have to work for a long time to pay for all these pensions.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that. I was thinking 2025, I've still got to work until 2050 something. Oh no.
just before just before 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Yes. But we're gonna start the Christmas show with kind of a look back at 2023 and possibly some of the things that kind of stuck out for you guys, possibly in the news, or something that an experience that you've had this year. Because I know both Matt and Andy have had quite a busy year this year with their airlines as well, and obviously Nev, you've had a busy year as well. But we'll start obviously with Jeff with your retirement date looming very soon. Obviously you've got a special day, I would imagine, for that sort of lined up as such. But anything this year that stands out for you with your career?
No, actually not. I managed to work myself out of the back of the airplane, the back door, with no one even noticing that I'm gone. So as far as everybody's concerned, at Delta, I can say it now, they probably don't even know I'm not there anymore. So, yeah.
Is this where you can admit you're DB Cooper?
Oh, yeah, well... yeah, is this, are we on the air? Oh, no. Yeah, DB and I are going to be doing some vacations together. He has an RV as well. And so we're going to have some fun.
What's the plan, Jeff? With obviously, have you got an idea or a rough idea when your sort of final flight will be, or is it going to be a case of you don't really know?
My final flight was several months ago.
Ah, okay.
So, yeah. And at the time, I didn't. It's just like Captain Nick. He didn't know when his last flight was either. But circumstances led to that situation. Same thing for me. And so I'm kaput. I'm all done. And my plans are, I'm waiting for my motorhome to be delivered in the spring. And then I'll be moving into that full time and traveling North America and just enjoying life.
It seems to be like you've been waiting ages for that RV. I remember you ordered it, like, it must be what, 2-3 years ago you ordered that RV?
Yeah, April of 2021, and it's a long story, but it's a great company. It's a Canadian company. I think that's part of the problem. And sorry, Liz, if you're watching.
I was just going to say
we love our Canadian friends. It's a very respected, high quality manufacturer, kind of almost like a boutique manufacturer of recreational vehicles here in North America. And they had a long list, waiting list, even before the pandemic. But the pandemic just kind of blew everything to smithereens. And yeah, so I knew I was in for a long wait, and I'd hoped that it would coincide with my retirement, but it's not quite going to match up completely. So the next few months I'll be waiting for my RV and just enjoying this retirement life.
Well,
Let me
we've
ask
always
you-
got a guest room up here in Charlotte. You're more than welcome.
Oh, I'm on my way.
And I've got a parking lot you can stay in.
Oh, very good.
With or
Well, I
without
mean,
an
I don't-
RV.
I was going to say, can I come inside if I'm in my car, Micah?
We'll think about it.
Okay.
But let me ask a British cultural question from a barbaric American. Is what Jeff is getting, is the RV, would that be called over there in the UK a caravan?
Motorhome.
Motorhome. Okay. I always got
Yeah.
caravan.
Well, trailer would be a caravan, I think, but I don't have a trailer. It's all in one, and I call it a motorhome as well.
There we go. There we go. And I'm guessing you've got a suitable broadcasting antennae to put on the RV, like a Starlink or some kind of system.
Yep,
so you can-
I have Starlink, I have AT&T business hotspot, and I have my T-Mobile phone. So hopefully, with a combination of all those, I'll have internet connections to continue to broadcast live shows.
Excellent. We look forward to that. Busy times ahead for you, Jeff. So we look forward to hearing some adventure stories from what you get up to.
Yep, you'll hear
No
more
doubt.
than you want, I'm sure.
Matt, moving on to you. What's going on with you?
My
in
highlight.
regards your
Mine's
highlight for the
probably
year.
not even personal. Mine's just bringing Concorde back into the forefront, I think. I've a lot of nostalgia seeing all the press about Concorde being retired and reliving those moments. So I remember it well. And yeah, although it was sad at the time, I think it was nice that it came back into the forefront, and that nostalgia and pride back into, that lost technology.
You all right there, Nick?
Sorry.
I think he fell over.
I just rang the bell, that's all. It was the
Thank you.
doorbell that went. Sorry about
It wasn't last orders. Don't panic.
that. Sorry.
Actually, Nev, I did see a report online a few weeks ago about that they were complaining about the sorry state of the Concorde that's parked at Heathrow at the moment. It was looking rather sad and unloved.
Yeah, Alpha Bravo is it's not looking very good condition, unfortunately. If you see it from a distance, it's okay, but actually close up, it could really do with being in a hangar somewhere. Of course, there's just no real hangar capacity at all at Heathrow that will be open to visitors either. That's the other thing. Of course, everything there is airside, so that's a bit of a problem. But it's looking a little bit unloved, unfortunately. But there we go.
Any particular flights that stood out for you this year, Matt, in regards to like your sort of day-to-day flying?
Don't think so. Nothing
No?
in particular. Not had anything particularly special going on. No, just the
Oh.
usual.
Obviously, all the flights into Malta have been fantastic. Just saying.
Yeah. I haven't done any of those.
Andy, moving on to you. Any highlights this year? Obviously,
Yeah.
you've had a busy year and you've sort of changed roles as such, haven't you? Kind of thing.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster year. I started out extremely unwell, lost my medical for quite some time, then got back to flying, and now I've stopped flying again. Yeah, I've moved roles, and I'm now more management side. So I fly occasionally, but not a great deal. I think I've done around 200 hours this year, if that, which is not a great amount. But yeah, it's on a high now towards the end, enjoying the new job. Nothing really stands out. I mean, Matt's been lucky. Every flight I seem to do, I seem to be the dirt magnet. It just, everything seems to go wrong for me. So maybe that's best that I'm not flying the line anymore. But yeah, I'm happy. Looking forward to the new year.
Yeah, but I'm surprised you don't miss all the flying. I'm surprised you don't want to, do it every day. But I suppose you've had, how many years have you been flying for the airline now?
Coming up 13 years.
13 years.
I do enjoy flying. Flying's still fun now when I go and do it occasionally.
I think your secret, Andy, is you love to be criticising other people for not doing it properly, and I was on the receiving end of that. If you remember, in a simulator with you and Matt, commenting on my skills or lack of them in the A320.
If you remember rightly, we were
element, I'm sure.
we were nothing but nice to you.
Well, for 50% of the time, yes.
Hey,
I did hit you with a
50%.
stick a few times. Yes.
There you go.
No, Nev, that was us being nice.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
You want to come and do a line check with me, Nev?
No, thanks.
We need to get that on video next time, I think, if that happens again. Mind you, you did well actually in the sim. Do you remember back at the 200th, Nev, when we were down at in London? But was it the 200th or the 100th? I can't remember now. It's the 200th, wasn't it? 200 show, yeah. Yeah, I think we all done well. But that was in a real aircraft, though. That was in a proper aircraft.
Don't you dare! It's Christmas.
Sorry. Anyway, we'll swiftly move on. We need to do the quiz before we lose Armando. Obviously, he's off flying again very soon. Armando, any thoughts, any highlights for you for this last year? Obviously, you've changed aircraft about 30,000 times and brought about 5 million aircraft. But what's
Well, actually, this is closely related to Micah's segment that we're going to play out a little bit later. I don't have mine's not a specific moment, but it's actually been over the course of the year, the evolution in my wife's interest in aviation. And for me, I feel like I'm the lucky guy here that has a tolerant spouse that, earlier this year, she's flown with me for years, right? In all kinds of different airplanes, but something changed for her when she flew the Stearman. And it was something about that open cockpit. And my friend Brian Rosenstein, shameless plug at Legacy Biplane Rides, he's an instructor, and it wasn't just a ride. He gave her a full lesson in the Stearman, and then she went back again, and they did an aerobatic ride, and then she went back again for another. So she got hooked on that. It was the open cockpit biplane experience that really pushed her over the top. And I am happy to say that last night she started ground school. So
wow.
For me, it's just been her evolution in the interest of aviation. And of course, that led to us buying a biplane ourselves in the last couple months. And it's just, it's pretty cool that of all the things, she kind of latched onto that vintage part of aviation, and, the shearling hats and the goggles and wind in my hair and her hair.
Hence the biplane behind you, yeah.
Yeah, that's my best aviation 2023 experience, I think.
Oh. Nick, how about you? Obviously, you've been retired. How many years is it now, Nick, since you retired from?
So many. I've kind of lost count. I think I last in 2020. Or no, 19 probably, actually, 2019. Yeah. So how many years is that? You guys can work it out. I'm retired. So yeah, it's disappearing nicely into the distance, and my life has, assumed a more casual attitude to everything, which is fantastic. I feel like I'm going to live forever now. This is superb.
Good.
And anyway, when it comes to events this year, I've got so many to choose from. The top of my list has to be Jeff coming over and taking us both up to Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. A fantastic time we had, practice days, qualies, the race itself, all with the most amazing facilities available to us, food and drink being thrown at us by everybody. It was absolutely superb. So I'm going to be forever in Jeff's debt for that, but it really was a fantastic time. But in addition, I've been belted around the countryside trying to promote aviation to all sorts of groups. I've been up to the Air Yorkshire Aviation Society, the Isle of Wight Royal Aeronautical Society. I've been across to Hamburg to speak to the Royal Aeronautical Society there. up to Manchester, woo, to the Aviation Society. They're a great bunch of people. There are so many keen aircraft enthusiasts in Manchester. And they had an audience of about 110, which, it was standing room only in the room that they were using, which is the one there at the visitors centre right beside Concord. So it's a fantastic venue and great fun up there. I talked at Weybridge, which is the Brooklands Museum, where you guys held one of your epic, what was it, the 5,000th show? I forget now. And the Weybridge Royal Aeronautical Society meet there, and they have got it really organised because they do it in the entertainment area, and they have food laid on. They all sit there in these circular tables. It's like being a presenter at a jazz club or something. It's superb. Anyway, they also invited me up to their memorial dinner where they have an amazing speech and. All paid for by British Aerospace. Isn't that nice? So I've really been doing the rounds this year and thoroughly enjoying myself. I'm looking forward to putting my feet up in retirement, something that has yet to happen.
Busy. I did catch your one you done at Manchester, Nick, a few weeks back. Because you had the guys from Airliners Live there, and they were streaming the broadcast there, which I managed to watch the whole show, and it was really good. It was great to see you kind of live doing a talk there. But did you get a chance to speak to Andy and the guys?
Yes, I did. Particularly during before we kicked off and during the interval. Really nice guys, and they got some great kit, and they do this almost continuous broadcast of flying events there in and out of the airport. They caught some great shots of the aircraft going in and out, and they are real enthusiasts, fantastic people.
Yeah, they do put a great stream out 2 or 3 times a week, actually. I don't know, Armando, whether you ever get a chance to catch those guys, but they kind of do a live stream from Manchester Airport.
Yeah, occasionally I put it on in the background, but it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
It's starting to catch on YouTube now, and now there's a stream at, I think, San Francisco. There's one at LA. There's, they're all trying to be those guys. Well, you guys had it first, like almost everything else we have here in the US.
Yeah, that'll be the day. I think you guys are now going to give up your right to the first airplane. Isn't there a Brazilian that's going to take the credit for Mr. Dumont?
Santos Dumont.
That will never happen. The state of North Carolina itself, where I live, will never accept that because all of our license plates say first in flight and have the Wright brothers on there. So we're not changing our license plates.
And you guys have guns, so I think the Brazilians are really taking on a bit much there.
Jeff, insert the yeehaw.
Yeehaw. Yeah, I wish I could. My system were working properly.
Now, Nev, any highlights for you this year in regards to your flying trips and stuff? Anything that stands out for you?
Yeah, probably right at the start of the year, actually. We did a trip to Portland, the other Portland, Micah, sorry, on the West Coast. But before we did that, we actually went to Dallas for 4 days for work on an A380. And that was my first ever trip on an A380. And my goodness, what a trip it is. We were upstairs, so in the nice part of the aircraft. And it is such a quiet aircraft, unbelievable. I was most impressed, I have to say. It was a really, really nice experience. And actually, considering the amount of people that it takes, I think it's 400 and something on the BA configuration. The boarding time it didn't seem much more than a regular 777 or 787 on the same route. So they've got all that nicely worked out. But that was definitely the flying highlight for me this year. And we'll be doing it again in January, but we're going straight to Portland this time. So on BA's 787 service directly to there. So,
why do you guys insist
flying
on going to the wrong Portland?
I know, it's incredible, isn't it? I mean, they're quite close together. One's East Coast and one's West Coast. It's only that far apart, isn't it? So,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. So back there in January for the sales kickoff, as we call it, or the sales kicking, as we call it as well, because perhaps we haven't done as well this year as we should have done, and our CEO will remind us about that. Definitely. Of course,
when he holds it at Brighton, that'll be your real reminder.
yes. Well, that has happened before, actually. So just this year, our local sales meeting, he came to see us. That's never a good thing, I don't think.
No.
When we're going to see him, I feel a bit more comfortable. When he comes to see us, that's a whole different thing.
Love it.
It's when you find out you're returning an economy is when you really understand what's been going on.
Or you're not returning at all, perhaps. They've just bought you a one-way ticket. Yeah.
So when is the retirement day, Nev? Because I know you spoke about it briefly on the show a few weeks back that you were going to be kind of retiring in a year or two's time.
Yes, February 2025 is the date, 8th of February actually, which will be the last day of our exhibition that we do in Barcelona. So I'm hoping that someone's going to cough up a few quid for a few drinks for us in Barcelona. And one of my other colleagues actually is retiring on the same day as well. So both of us will be doing that. But yeah, I've got another sort of 13, 14 months to go. But it's going very quickly, I must say. When I first started having a conversation with the company about when I would like to finish and this kind of stuff, it seemed a long way off. And now it is getting very close indeed. And this next year and a bit is just going to fly past, I'm sure. In terms of plans, well, it just means I've got more time to do some of the longer form interviews for the podcast and that kind of stuff. And doing other things as well when I want to do them, not when I have to do them. So that'd be a nice change, and to do a bit more travelling, actually, just around the UK and Ireland as well. Mrs. Nev and I have not done that much of that in the last few years because I've been so busy. She's retiring at the end of this year, so I thought it'd be bad form for me to be carrying on till I'm 67 when she's just sitting at home watching Netflix all day. So I thought I would spend a year after she finishes, and then I shall finish myself.
What is BA going to do, Nev?
Well, it won't go out of business, I don't think. But I'm going to still try. I mean, I don't think I'll be able to keep the gold card going, obviously, but I'll see if I can keep the silver one going, just with the odd trip here and there, and maybe some assignments for PTUK, perhaps. Out and about, yeah, I mean, as I've often said on the podcast, the flying aspect I absolutely love, and I wouldn't change it for anything. Still, it's the gate and the security and getting on the aircraft and getting off the aircraft and all that faff that goes on, which is why I did enjoy the executive aviation business, the 2 times that I've been on private jets. This is my kind of flying, definitely. I don't really care if you don't earn any points for that. Yeah, the trip from East Midlands to Le Bourget on a Falcon 2000, and then a trip from Farnborough to Billund in Denmark on the Lego jet, as we call it, on a Citation 560 XL. That's my kind of flying, definitely. So I can see why that's attractive to Armando, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a whole different world, and once you've tasted it, you kind of don't want to go back to commercial flying.
I remember my French colleague was going to pick me up from Le Bourget, and in fact, I don't even remember bringing a passport or having a boarding card. I mean, I probably did have a passport at the time, but I'm not sure I actually did need to show it. But he said to me, but Neville, it is the Executive Aviation Centre. I'm going, that's right. Yeah, just pick me up from there. I'll be there. His eyes were sort of on stalks when he saw me. So yeah, that was a great trip. So those are the 2 times I've been on private jets, which have just been fantastic. And of course, every time we used to go to Farnborough, obviously, and the other air shows as well, and Dubai particularly, seeing all the equipment there. That's definitely my kind of flying, I would say. Yeah.
Well, based on everybody's timelines, this is shaping up to be a great Oshkosh 2025 meetup, right? I mean, we can all sleep in Jeff's motorhome.
Well, it's
Yeah.
not that big.
I'll sleep
if
on
you
the roof,
bring your
Jeff.
tents, you
That's
can
what
sleep right all around it.
Yeah, hey, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. Carlos, what about you? Did you have a moment this year?
Yeah, I think we had a really good time at Duxford. The meetup we had there towards the end of the summer went really well. But I think just with the content that we've done this year, I think we the team has done really well. I'm immensely proud of what the guys put together, especially both you and Nev with the bits and pieces you've done, the video and stuff you've done, and obviously with Reno and whatever you've done there. But I think it's all the bits that interviews and stuff that we've done for the show. They all are just fantastic. I really enjoy them. And for me, next year I'm retiring, not from the company I work for now, but I'm retiring. I'm hanging up my DJ headphones at the end of March next year. I am retiring from DJing after nearly 14 years of doing DJing. So hopefully it's going to free up more weekends for me to be able to go and attend more air shows and obviously meet up with Nev and the team and do more stuff for the show. So yeah, it's going to be a funny year next year. After doing it for so long, it's going to be strange not having to go away and disappear on a Saturday night to go and do a wedding disco or something for someone. But yeah, it's been a good year for us in regards to the show. I think we've had some great stuff on the show and great content. So long may it continue. Micah, what's been your highlight of this year for you, flying wise? Any flying trips you've done that have kind of been good?
A couple of flying things that were kind of fun. One of my favorites actually showed me the difference between us in terms of real aviation enthusiasts and friends that you have that really aren't into aviation. I was at the Sperwing Farm Pancake Breakfast and Fly-In, one of my favorite fly-ins of all time, and a listener and good friend of the show, Ernie Eaton, was there, who flies a Robinson R-44 helicopter. And I had some friends there that went last year, aren't really aviation geeks like us, but enjoyed the experience, so they came back, and it was her birthday, and I'd worked it out with Ernie to take her for her first ever helicopter ride, and she'd never done it before. And so Ernie comes walking over and says, "I'm all ready. You ready to go?" And it was a surprise for her. And I said, "For your birthday, I told you I got an experiential present for you. And I had this helicopter flight for you. You're going to go once around the pad and have the chance to fly in a helicopter with her and her husband." And she said, and for those of you watching the video, you'll really get this. She said, "No."
What do you think? I have a death wish?
I said, "Are you sure this is a good?"
I feel for her, Micah. I would have been exactly the same. Helicopter? You gotta be kidding me.
Have you seen those R44s? They're like someone's just got like a little twig and stuck on the back of a bobble and put a propeller on top.
Hey, I've flown in the R-44. I've flown with Ernie. He's a great pilot. That aircraft is a wonderful aircraft to fly in. But to watch her twice, when I said, "Are you sure? It's a great time. Ernie's super." And just twice, she goes, "No." Just a riot.
Listen, I'm like Jeff on this one, where I flew helicopters for a living, and I would not jump into an R-44.
That's right. You managed to survive. You don't want to take the risk again.
Yeah,
I'm
good.
sure that if any of you were there and I would have offered that to you, you would have. You might have been a little hesitant, but there's no doubt. I can't believe that any of you would have turned down the opportunity to fly with Ernie. So.
It was kind of related to another one of my favorite moments this year, which was Jeff climbing into a tiny little Super Cub.
Oh, yes.
After flying airliners for 40 years or 30 years.
That was great.
Sticking Jeff into a paper and balls of wood airplane.
It was a lot of fun. Great experience. Thanks for doing that. I had no idea on a layover I would be flying a little, what is it? Super Cub?
Super Cruiser.
Super Cruiser. There we go. I always get that wrong. Sorry about that.
What did you do with your pants afterwards, Jeff? Did you manage to save them, or did you just throw them away?
Well, luckily I had an extra pair, so I just threw that pair away.
Well, based on his age, he always wears two pair. And also,
say-
well,
No,
when you come back up, Jeff, you can jump into the front cockpit of the biplane with the hat and the goggles, and I'll take you right back to when you started flying.
hey, that's not funny. Yeah. So, by the way, Armando, I mean, a lot of people think that he's a great pilot, and let me just tell you something. He is. He is. He's a great pilot. Never had any worries whatsoever when we were flying in your little airplane. That was a lot of fun.
No, I had two other aviation highlights that I just want to point out this year, if you can give me the time. One is that I got to fly with Breeze Airways on an A220, which was just wonderful, just a great aircraft. The A220, the Bombardier C Series, just beautiful, really, really comfortable inside, incredibly quiet. I expected to like it, but not as much as I did, and really, really enjoyed it. But those were I also got to fly in an SR-22, a Cirrus SR-22 for my first time, which was also just incredible, really nice. But the absolute highlight, aviation highlight of the year is always the Plane Talking UK Christmas show. So thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, it's good to have you all on the show. We need to have a special like this at least once a year, don't we, at Christmas time, to celebrate the kind of the bringing together of all the podcasts together, you know. But no, it's good to see. Now, Armando, I know you've got to skip away, haven't you?
I do. I have to go tame the skies, and it's not a particularly friendly weather day, so got to do a quick flight from Charlotte down to Naples, Florida, and back. And we're recording this on December 2nd. So if you look at the weather on December 2nd, you'll see that I'm going to have a challenging day ahead of us. So it's lovely to see all of you. I can't wait to see all of you in person soon somewhere, and have a great rest of the year.
Lovely to see you, Armando. Try not to get on the news.
That's odd. That's always my goal.
Godspeed.
Hey, and
right.
before you go, make sure give Megan and Maddie our Christmas wishes and our love.
I most certainly will. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Armando. Merry Christmas. Right, we've got the quiz then. So we've got a special Christmas quiz this year. And so I've got the two teams here written down. Now, the quiz this year is Guess the Rear. Now, I know there are a few faces there. I thought there'd be some faces there, mate, honestly. So they've got two teams, Team A and Team B. Now, Team A, the team captain is, of course, Neville Bounds. They look like that. With you, Nev, you have got Captain Nick. So, Nick, you're with Nev. You can be the second in command. Is that right, Nick? He's on mute. Well, he's
Good luck.
fine. He's on mute.
I've been demoted again.
Yes.
What did I do this time, sir?
He's in the right hand seat again. Yeah.
Turn up drunk. Turn up drunk for parade.
You didn't get your BA gold card, is what it is.
Obviously, no. I was hoping for platinum as well.
And you've also got Micah as well on the team as well. So Team A there, Nev, Micah and Nick. Now Team B is the team leader there. Team captain is Captain Jeff. It's funnily enough. You've got Matt and Andy with you as well. You've got the youngsters.
That's not fair.
You've got the kids with you, Jeff. You'll have to keep them in check.
These kids.
Animals. Right, so it is Guess the Rear. Now, I'm going to bring up a screen here. If I can just share the screen here.
Hooray. You've gone all soft focus, Jeff. Looks very romantic.
Oh,
Right, so Guess the Rear. Team A, you need to guess the rear. What aircraft rear end is this, Team A? If you don't know, you can pass it to Team B. So
Why
Team
would
A.
we do that?
Well, no,
Why would we pass it?
Yes. I know the answer to this, fellas.
Oh, well done.
Do you know?
Yeah, it's a Baltic.
Certainly.
Yes, that's great there.
ding,
Well
ding,
done.
ding, 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 ding. Nice job.
It's green and white.
Nev, any idea what airliner this is? What
I would
rear?
say that's an Air Baltic A220.
That is correct. Well done, Team A. Your first point. Excellent.
Wow.
Off we
Done.
go.
Right,
They need to name
team.
the airline as
done,
well.
Nev.
No, you don't have to name the airline as well, honestly. Team B, are you ready? There we go. Team B.
Oh, come on.
I'm pretty sure it's an Indigo.
Yeah. I mean, it's really not difficult. We'll leave it for Jeff.
No. I think I need to refer the little whippersnappers on my team.
Love it.
Kids, what is that one?
Matt?
Well, what is it? It's the best airplane ever, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a Boeing 777.
Is that your final? Is that your final answer, Jeff?
that is
No,
not.
okay.
No,
Okay.
no, that was inter-team communications.
Right. What is that one then? Your final answer.
I'm going to say, well, Matt, go ahead and tell us what it is.
A320.
A320.
Well done. Ding ding. You got that correct. I get harder.
What's
Trust
the,
me.
What's the manufacturer's serial number of that? Is that not part?
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right.
Is this going to be the secret to this quiz? Are they all going to be A320s?
No, they're not. No, they're not. They get harder. Trust me. Right. Team A. Here is your rear.
Oh, God. That's got to be that awful damned airplane that Boeing made.
Now, I think you should make them give the full model for this one.
You do get
full
you
model.
do get a bonus point if you do know the model number. So Nev.
Um,
Well, I can do the first bit. It's
yes, I think I'm going to refer to
747.
Captain
Yeah.
Nick for this bit. Yeah.
No, I don't know which model, mate. I really don't. But I wouldn't know how to tell the back end of a
So-
Boeing from.
So your answer 747, yeah?
We're going to have a guess at the model for the extra point. What do you
Okay.
reckon, Nev?
I think it's a 200.
Yeah, that's as good a guess as any. How old is it?
I'm just
Yeah.
looking at it's a French registered aircraft, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
actually know.
Well, we'll go with Micah's guess. 747-200. How's that?
I'll give you a point for 747, but it is not a 200.
It's probably a
Unfortunately.
400.
400, probably.
Yeah.
No, incorrect as
Oh.
well. No, that is a -100.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
Oh, really?
But
It
you
looks
get-
much too clean.
You get a point though, so don't panic.
Must
Right.
be an old picture.
Right, Team B, here is your one.
Oh, boy.
Jeff, you know the answer to that.
Yeah, I do know the answer to that. That's an L1011. Can't tell
Yeah.
you whether it's a -1 or a 250 or a 500 from here, but
Yeah, that is correct. Well done. Point for you, Team B. Well done. That is the glorious TriStar. Obviously missing
yeah, I was missing
some
something
file
Yeah.
bits there. Right,
Yeah,
team.
Jeff, wasn't that one of your favorites to fly?
there. It is, yes.
Of course it is. Right, Team A. Here's one for you.
Oh, no.
right. Well, that's so. There's some there's a T-tail going on there and some rear-mounted engines. So that
Yeah,
says to
so-
me it's probably a McDonnell Douglas.
Or just a Douglas if it's that old. I'm not 100%
dear.
sure.
Well, you see, trouble is that there's the Boeing 717, and there's the Mad Dog, there's an Angry Puppy, there's the DC-9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to tell them all apart, quite
No,
honestly.
It's not a 717. I'm sure.
Okay, good. Let's bin that one then. So,
Should
I
we
know what it
say?
is.
Do you think
yeah, funny old thing, Jeff.
You know what I would say? I would say it's a DC-9 derivative.
Yeah,
No,
I wonder.
yeah.
Interesting. What are we going with, Nev?
Now,
I
wait
was
a
gonna
minute.
say
Before you say anything, could it be a BAC 111?
No.
No,
Okay. All right.
no, it's definitely not that. Those are not the
The
Rolls-Royce.
BAC 111 didn't have the little bit of the fin sticking up above the tailplane, and it had a
Gotcha.
bullet through it rather than a.
Well, I'm going to say it's a MD-80 series, but that may
Well,
not.
that should give us at least 3 points.
That may not be the complete answer.
Right. Are you going to go with an MD-80 series, are you, Nev?
Yes.
Right. You can get half a point for that. because
Oh.
you haven't quite got
What-
the model
Can I
number.
do the other half?
Oh, you can do, yeah. What is the other?
No, actually, I can't improve on that.
Have you got?
Dear.
Can we have a
I wonder
guess?
if would it be the one that the series that Jeff used to fly, the MD-88? I wonder.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
You're gonna keep your half a point. You were right with the MD series, but no, it's not an 88. No, it's not an 88.
Oh, really? Is it
No.
a 90?
No, it's not a
No,
90.
it's an 80 series. I would guess. A
Jeff,
complete
do you
guess.
want half a point if you can guess what MD series it is?
No, I know the airline. It's Span Air.
I'd say an 80,
Spanner.
83.
Yeah, I'd have said 83 as well because I'm sure that's what they flew.
If it's a spanner, yes, it's 83 or 82. Yeah,
It's not an 83. It's an 82, unfortunately.
Ah.
The 82.
Oh, Nev said 82, so we get our half extra point. That gets the whole point.
He said 83.
No, he's
No,
I get a
when you were
point,
guessing the series right at the end,
All
he
right,
said
okay.
82.
You get a half a point for that. Right.
I'll
Yeah,
give it to
well,
him.
Nev.
It doesn't matter.
Right, team B. Here is your one.
Oh yeah, nice.
Oh, good Lord. Yes, that's easy.
Team B.
Is it?
Jeff, Matt, Andy, what is that?
It's a 111.
111. Is it?
Could be. Yeah.
Back 111.
That's
Final
what it
answer?
Hush
Yeah.
kitted. Yeah.
Final answer is
says. BAC 111.
correct. Ding, 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 ding. Well done, 1
Ding, ding,
point.
ding.
Right, Team A. And if you don't get this one, I'm going to be quite upset.
It's beautiful.
Looks very clean.
Very slender.
It's an Airbus. I'm almost 100%.
Oh, yeah, it
I don't know
is.
which
I'm pretty
one's
sure
what.
it's an
Well, that's
Airbus. But
probably that's either going to be an A330 or A340, isn't it?
Yeah.
well, I'm guessing it's a 340 because actually, having said that, they use the same bloody fuselage. Oh, pardon
Yeah.
me, the same fuselage for the 340,
Yeah,
300.
I can't imagine what would give away between the.
No, I've noticed they haven't got the markings for the tailplane angle on the fuselage, which is unusual, but there you go. I reckon because of the hint that Carlos gave us, it's got to be a 340. What do you reckon, Nev?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
You get a bonus point if you get the model number as well, Nick.
A340 300.
Sorry, that's wrong. It's actually a 600.
Really?
You get a
50.
think
you
he'd
get
know
1
that.
point on that. You get 1 point though. That's fine. Right, Team B. Here's your one.
Wow.
Oh, she's a big girl.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look at all those wheels.
I know. These French airplanes are so beautiful.
Mm.
And your answer is
It is a
Derriere.
French one as well, I think. It's an Air France.
A380, but I don't know.
well
what
done.
model, I guess.
But they only made one model.
800.
One.
Yeah, 800, yeah.
Only made one model. Yeah.
That's the one.
Right.
Is it my imagination or is the nose wheel in the air? It really looks
look
like
like
it's
it,
sort of.
It does.
I think that's the shadow.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The ground staff haven't loaded it properly again. Yeah.
No, Nev, you should be able to get this one. I reckon you'll get this one easy, Nev. Here we go. Team A, this is your one.
Right. Well, that's Swiss Air, obviously.
I reckon
Is it?
It's a
Is it Swiss
Fokker,
Air?
and that
Or
Fokker's a
Swiss.
Messerschmitt.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Now, I wonder, is that a? Oh dear. Could that be a Fokker 100?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Let me think.
I think you're right with the Fokker, sir. I just like saying that.
Yeah. Well, it's either a Fokker 70 or a 100, isn't it?
What's going to be the final answer?
Oh no.
He's going for odd ones, so pick the least likely one.
I don't even
Silverjet
know
one
if
did, was it?
Swiss had any Focus 70s. I know KLM did.
Yeah, I think it's a 100.
Go for the 100 then.
Yeah, let's go for the 100 then. Yeah, Focus 100.
Well done. Correct.
Not-
Hey, well
Very
done.
good.
It's
Well
not
done,
Swiss,
Micah.
though. It's not Swiss. It's Helvetic.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just where they keep the first aid kit, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right, team B. Are you ready?
Yes.
Oh,
Ooh.
Jeff. The world's best aeroplane, according to you.
Yeah, I'd say that's a 777. I can't tell you what series though.
It's a BIM in Bangladesh, so let's have a think.
It'll be a 100 then.
I don't know.
I
What
don't
do you
know,
think?
300.
I'd say 300.
It sounds as though Jeff has entered the bathroom as well. So the
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's there with Hillel. They're having a quick conflab,
Oh,
which I think is cheating under the rules of this quiz.
So your final answer?
There's something wrong with my mic again.
yeah.
No.
Okay.
Got a bit echoey, that's all.
So your final answer, Jeff?
777.
Okay. 777 is correct. So you get a point for that. Now, can you guess a model number?
We were guessing 300.
And correct again. Well done. You get another point for that as well.
Oh, so now we're a point and a half behind you guys.
You are a point and a half.
Is the next one the
behind.
last picture?
No, the next one is the last picture. There is
Well,
there is
that's
one.
not fair. That's only
Yeah.
11 pictures.
Yeah,
Two
but
teams.
this final one, this final picture will give you 10 points. Okay,
Ooh.
because this is a tricky one. Now, the 10 points obviously will put whoever gets this into the winning position. So the first person to guess this will get those 10 points. Okay, the first person to say the complete designation of this aircraft will get the 10 points. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
727 200.
To you.
No, that's a Trident.
Oh, is it?
Is
A
it-
Trident. What? Who makes that?
Is it, is it a
You're right.
Chinese copy of
A
it?
British.
or-
Hawker Siddeley Trident.
Ding, ding, ding. Well done, Andy.
All right, Andy.
10 points, Andy. Well done. You,
Nice.
Team B, you are our winners today.
Boo,
The Christmas
boo.
quiz.
Well done, Andy.
That was a googly. That's not fair.
That
the
was
way,
quite a
had-
throw you off
had-
question, actually, because that did look, well, it looks slightly like
Looked
72.
very Russian,
I suppose.
didn't it?
Yeah, it looked a bit Russian with
Wow.
the, yeah.
If
Yeah, I was
recall,
going to say
Wasn't a
Tuplov something or other.
if I recall correctly, Carlos, I believe that Andy's team has won the quiz every year that we've done it. I'm almost
Wow.
100% sure of that.
I'm so proud
Quite
to be the
possibly.
leader of Andy's team.
Because I'm a nerd.
How did you pull that out of the bag, Andy? Because the Hawker Siddeley is like, what's that, 1970? No, 60s, Nev? Late 60s, early 70s?
Yeah, and yes, yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah.
it's you can tell it's a Trident just by the engine configuration and the tail. And I also remembered, because again, I'm a nerd, they sold some to the communist China government.
Well, I never.
There we go. There we go.
They sold some to BEA as well. They left one in Staines.
They did. Yes.
Yes, I remember that one.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah. Yeah. So well done to Team B for winning
Yeah,
this year's Christmas
congratulations, Team B.
quiz. Well done.
You're off my Christmas card list now.
The youngsters won. The youngsters won. Yes.
With an old aircraft that the oldies should have known.
Hey, I'm not that old.
I just want
Jeff
to point
is,
out
but I'm not.
that also for every year that we've done this, I have again been absolutely no help. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that.
Thanks, Micah.
Oh, that's not.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Micah.
You've been a help
You're
to
great.
the opposing team every year.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're going to play the next part of the show, and every year on the Christmas special, we have our Christmas message from Micah. And you put this together, didn't you, Micah? Every year you put one together for us, and we're going to play that out right now.
Now, I've mentioned on a number of occasions that I always thought I became an airplane geek due to my father, and assumed that my mom just put up with my dad and me talking airplanes. My mom, Harriet, loved literature and taught English to middle and high school students. She loved opera and theater and attended both regularly. In fact, for a while, she had seen every show on Broadway, regularly going into the city to catch 2 shows a day on the weekends. Harriet was an art lover, was a member of museums all over the world, and she never missed a Dodge Poetry Festival. She was a true lover of classic culture. Harriet was always taking classes and loved learning throughout her life. She was ABD, meaning she would have had a PhD had she wanted to take the time to write a dissertation, but she was too busy with the rest of her life to do so. The degree itself never really meant anything to her. She took classes for the mere love of learning. On top of all this, my mom was an amazing cook. Whether it was traditional Jewish cuisine, fine Italian and European dishes, even Chinese, my mom's kitchen skills were just unreal. But as I alluded to earlier, it turned out my mom was also an airplane geek all her life. She wasn't putting up with me and my dad when we would talk about airplanes together. She enjoyed it, although I didn't really learn that until later in her life. While visiting my cousin in Florida, he pulled out a picture of Harriet that was taken in 1933. She was only 3 years old, and there she was, standing in front of a gate at Floyd Bennett Field, looking at some yet-to-be-identified aircraft. But it wasn't until I ended up flying with my mom open cockpit in a new standard D-25 at the old Rhinebeck Aerodrome that I found out what an airplane geek she really was. You probably already heard that story, and if you haven't, you can find it on Airplane Geeks episode 339 in the piece I call Lou's Flight of Fancy. That open cockpit flight really set her free as the airplane geek she really was. After that new standard D-25 open cockpit flight, whenever we would drive down Route 95, parallel to the runways of EWR or PHL, she would get so excited to see a big hulking jetliner turn into a graceful bird that she would almost giggle like a kid. She loved flying and had flown all over the world on airliners. She flew several times with my cousin in Cessna 172s and 182s. My mom even managed to get in the left seat of a helicopter a couple of times. You can hear about that in the story Harriet's Helicopter Pilot on Airplane Geeks episode 324. My mom, Harriet, was a true Renaissance woman. Harriet passed over a decade ago now. I can't believe it's been so long because, in many ways, she's still with me every day. But that's not what I'm writing about today. Today I want to tell you about my Aunt Jerry, Harriet's younger sister. After Harriet passed, Jerry, who never had any children, was left as the family matriarch. Aunt Jerry was just the opposite of Harriet. She was into fashion and the latest trends, had little interest in education, literature, theater, nor opera, didn't really care to travel, and preferred to stay at home. Now, my mom and both of her sisters were beautiful, and I'm not just saying this as a devoted son and nephew. Martha, Harriet, and Jerry were all very attractive women and all had their own style, but it was Jerry that followed fashion. In the 1960s and 70s, she would wear what I guess was called smoky eye makeup, sometimes called Persian eyes, and she was always decked to the nines. She looked just like Sophia Loren, and that's saying something. Being the youngest sister by 7 years, as I grew up, she was known in the family, even by her sisters, as the young hot aunt. Aunt Jerry dropped out of high school at 16 and went to hairdressing school. At that point in her life, she had already been dating the man who became my Uncle Ralph for almost 4 years. 6 years later, they were married when he was honorably discharged from the Marine Corps. She had been working as a hairdresser the whole time and had saved enough to put a down payment on a house in Massapequa, New York. I wrote a bit about my Uncle Ralph on a piece I did for the Airline Pilot Guy, episode 196, called A Community of Passion. Now, Uncle Ralph was a devoted Catholic, something that you can imagine did not go over well with my grandparents. But after seriously dating for close to a decade, even right through his hitch in the Marines, Grandma Lee and Grandpa Sam were not only able to accept Uncle Ralph, but really found that they loved him. He was a great guy. Aunt Jerry's dedication to Uncle Ralph was quite unique, and that was another way she was different from my mom, her sister Harriet. While I know Aunt Jerry never gave up on her personal identity as a Jew, she didn't really follow any of the traditions and in fact adopted Uncle Ralph's Italian Catholic heritage. Now that I think about it, I wonder if that was why she modeled herself, intentionally or not, after Sophia Loren. When Aunt Jerry and Uncle Ralph lived in Massapequa, she would put together Christmas at her house as the huge celebration it is in the Gentile world. She would throw a big party, had the household decorated with a tree and holly and mistletoe, the whole Megillah, and she would then cook a huge traditional Italian feast. There was antipasta, manicotti, baked ziti, braciole, chicken cacciatore, veal scallopini, and so much more. There were presents for the kids, and for the adults, assorted cocktails and wines and beer. My mom and dad would pack up me and my brothers and drive out to Long Island from New Jersey for what would be a 3-day event. Christmas Eve was travel day, and we would stay overnight at my grandparents' house. On Christmas Day, we'd head to Aunt Jerry and Uncle Ralph's after breakfast for the celebration, then return to my grandparents for the night before heading back to New Jersey on Boxing Day. It was a huge celebration. We'd gather around the tree and exchange gifts as different guests would drop by, coming and going, visiting for a short time, or joining the all-day party. Dinner would be served around 2 p.m. It was always an amazing feast of wonderful dishes that I didn't have any other time of the year. Eventually dinner would be over, and most of the men would gather in the back room where they would smoke and drink and play pinochle with some sports game on the black and white. Color TV was a luxury back then. The women would gather in the kitchen and start cleaning up. I know, very chauvinistic, but that's how it was in the early to mid-'60s, and no one thought the better of it. Eventually, sometime around 1968 or 69, Aunt Jerry and Uncle Ralph moved to Florida, where Jerry continued to work as a hairdresser and Uncle Ralph opened a gas station. This was back when cars were regularly repaired by a local mechanic. Uncle Ralph sold that service station to open up a junkyard, what we now refer to as an auto salvage or used parts shop. Ultimately, he and Aunt Jerry started their own business, selling and repairing antiques, curios, and collectibles. That was when my only family Christmas experience ended, as no one in my family but Aunt Jerry and Uncle Ralph celebrated the holiday. It really was my only family Christmas holiday experience as a child and was very influential on me. But this is an airplane podcast, so let's get to talking flying. Yes, there's a connection, a big one in fact. As John Ostrower says, there's always an aviation angle. You see, although a Marine and stationed on aircraft carriers in the Mediterranean in the 1950s, Uncle Ralph hated flying. He was terrified of it, although he wouldn't admit his fear. After his discharge, he and Jerry flew to Acapulco sometime in the early 1960s, but that was the last time he was ever on an airplane. My cousin Mitchell, Ralph's nephew, the GA pilot Harriet would fly with and someone Uncle Ralph trusted, offered to take him flying many times. He told Ralph that he could perform the pre-flight with him to see just how well the aircraft was maintained. He could open the cowling and use his mechanic skills to inspect the engine to see just how well it was put together. Mitchell even told Ralph that they could just take off, go once around the pattern and land if he felt uncomfortable in the air. But Ralph was not going for it. There was no way he was going to get into one of those contraptions. Jerry, again, being the opposite of her older sister Harriet, was also afraid to fly, really hated it, but could overcome her fears at times if it was really necessary. She managed to make it to my brother's wedding in Richmond, Virginia in 1992, but she didn't fly again until 2012, when she flew to New Jersey with my cousin Mitchell and his wife, her niece and nephew, to visit Harriet in the hospital. But both of these flights were without Ralph. He simply wouldn't get on a plane. Ralph passed about 2 years to the day after Harriet did. Jerry was devastated, as you can imagine, but eventually rose to the challenge of living alone for the first time in her life. She also grew just a bit more daring. Jerry had never flown GA, but knowing how much her older sister Harriet loved to fly with her nephew, my cousin Mitchell, asked him to take her for a flight. Mitchell was delighted. He wanted our Aunt Jerry to experience the joy of flying. They took a short ride in a 172 from Palm Beach County Airport up to the Jupiter Inlet in Florida and back. Aunt Jerry called me as soon as she got home from the flight. "It was great," she said. "I mean, scary, but I'm so glad I did it. I could feel Harriet holding my hand, telling me it was going to be okay, but I knew that she was right there, holding the plane up and wasn't going to let anything happen." Mitchell offered to take Aunt Jerry flying quite a few more times, but Jerry wasn't going for it. She said she had the experience, was glad she did, and that was enough for her. But the experience helped embolden her, and she decided to take another trip. For years, Uncle Ralph had talked about his experience in the U.S. Marine Corps while on carrier duty in the Mediterranean. Jerry had pictures of him during that time, as they used to write back and forth while he was enlisted. One of those photos was of him lighting a cigarette from the top of Mount Etna. Please note, I did not say lighting a cigarette from the top of Mount Etna. I said from Mount Etna. Yes, from the hot ground itself. After hearing all those stories most of her life, Aunt Jerry wanted to see some of Italy and Sicily herself. She and a friend booked a flight to and a cruise around Italy. She knew she was having a bit more of a luxury cruise than what Uncle Ralph experienced on the USS Carl C. and the USS Franklin D. Roosevelt, but at least she would see some of the same places, even if it was almost 70 years later. Though she knew she would be traveling in luxury, Aunt Jerry was still really anxious about going. I was able to calm her down. Actually, we were all together. It was our podcast family that stepped in. Our good friend, Dispatcher Mike, made a special point of monitoring her flights, and listener Jenny in Rome told me to give Aunt Jerry her phone number, and if anything were to happen to her anywhere in Italy, she would be there to help. This calmed Aunt Jerry down enough to actually go through with the trip. She had a fabulous time, as we all knew she would, and there was no need for anyone to step in and assist her. I wish you could have heard the excitement in her voice when she told me all about her adventure. I'm not sure if she was more thrilled seeing everything Uncle Ralph had told her about over the years they were together, or because she was actually able to do it and travel all that way on her own. A few years later, in September of 2019, my cousin Mitchell and his wife, Amy, made plans to visit me up here in Maine. Mitchell wanted the opportunity to fly over the Maine coast, so he had me research and arrange for a rental at a local FBO, and to also find a local CFI from that FBO to hire to come along so we wouldn't need to have a local checkout flight. Now, Mitchell's wife, Amy, is afraid to fly GA, and Mitchell usually flies a Cessna 172 or 182, but told me specifically to get a 182 this time. I questioned him about it, as there was considerably more cost to the larger aircraft, but he said he wanted the extra power and would feel more comfortable flying the 182. I did as he asked, and set it up with Southern Maine Aviation at SFM, Sanford Seacoast Regional Airport. Mitchell and Amy arrived at the Portland Jetport on a Monday afternoon, rented a car, and headed to their hotel. I picked them up in the early evening to take them out to dinner, and they had a surprise for me. I got out of the car and walked into the hotel lobby, and sitting at a table, drinking a cup of coffee, was Aunt Jerry. Apparently, she decided she wanted to make her first ever visit to Maine to see me. What a wonderful surprise. The next day, we drove from Portland down to the Sanford airport. It seemed that Mitchell wanted the 182 because Aunt Jerry had decided to come along with us. She wanted to fly GA with me, and I was delighted. We walked out to the airplane, and I climbed into the back seat on the right side. I figured I would get things arranged and then help Aunt Jerry into the plane by offering her a hand from the inside. Apparently a hand was not enough. Aunt Jerry couldn't make the first step. We got a stool out of the FBO, but this didn't help her. She just could not get herself up on the step. Eventually Mitchell got inside the plane, and I got behind, and I've got to say, this was rather embarrassing for me. As with Jerry bent over, there was no place to push from other than a place where you just don't want to grab your aunt, especially the young hot one. But we finally managed to get Jerry into the back of the 182. We taxied out to the run-up area, Mitchell in the left seat, the instructor in the right, as we went over our flight plan. We decided to fly north along the coast of Portland, make the harbor visual into PWM, and do a touch-and-go on 29, then head further north to Lambert Point in Freeport, right where the Royal and Cousins River converge, then circle over a friend's house, and then return to Sanford. We took off from Sanford on 25 and turned left, heading east toward Wells Beach. We turned north and followed the coast of Portland, making sure to avoid the TFRs over the Bush compound in Kennebunkport. Although no longer in office, flying over former President Bush's main home is not allowed. Aunt Jerry, being on the left side of the aircraft, was facing the coast and was looking out the window as we flew north. I could see she was frightened, and she felt nauseous. I handed her a pure peppermint drop that I knew would help settle her stomach and give her something else to think about as I took her hand. As we flew north, I tried to point out the sights I recognized, including the famous Cliff House in Biddeford, 2 lights in Cape Elizabeth, perhaps most famous from the Edward Hopper paintings, Fort Williams and the Portland Headlight, a lighthouse commissioned by George Washington, the Spring Point Ledge Lighthouse, and as we turned west into Portland Harbor on approach to 29, then we could see Bug Light, the tanker ships docked in the harbor, and the tank farms they supply. After consultation with the tower at PWM, we decided to do a low approach rather than touch and go. ATC was very helpful and courteous and mentioned that a low approach would be more convenient for them, and we were happy to comply. Aunt Jerry had calmed down. Her breathing was easier, and she seemed to be enjoying herself. That was until we cut down on the throttle to make our approach. With the change in the engine sound and the angle on the plane, she started to get scared again and began squeezing my hand tightly. She may have been 82 years old, but she had some grip when she was scared. I explained what we were doing, and she calmed down and slowly eased her grip. That was until we were about 10 feet off the runway and the engine came roaring back to life. The blood flow to my hand seemed to stop. She grabbed it so tightly I couldn't believe it. Once again, I told her what we were doing as we gained altitude, turned right to head north, and then turned northeast again to find and follow the coast to Yarmouth. So here I am in the back right seat of the aircraft, looking out of what I could see of the windscreen ahead of me from the back seat, and the left window next to Aunt Jerry to try to find landmarks so I can navigate and direct my cousin Mitchell to my friend's house on Casco Bay near the mouth of the Cousins River. Frankly, I was amazed at myself. I had never flown over this area before and was only familiar with it from the ground. But with my knowledge and lifelong love of maps, something I like to look at regularly, I was able to figure out where we were, locate landmarks on the coastline and certain islands, and found our way over the bay to our destination. As an aside, with the way people are now trained on phones and GPS systems, I wonder how many would be able to do that, having not learned from maps and reading atlases. How many of you non-pilots would be able to locate yourself in the air without the help of satellite navigation? The whole magenta line thing comes into my thoughts. Maybe I should have been a navigator. Anyway, we turned left and flew a figure-8 circle to the right so I could get some photos and video out of my window. I learned the hard way that when using an iPhone as a camera and holding it horizontally, the camera lens is on the bottom right, meaning it's easy to partially obscure it with a finger. Oh well. We made 3 circles and turned back south, and followed the coast back until we turned west just north of Wells to head back to Sanford. After landing, we headed into the FBO, settled up, and left to go out to dinner. It was a wonderful flight and a great day. In reflecting on it, I've been quite fortunate in that I've had the opportunity to fly with quite a few family members. Many of you already know that my first flight ever on a Delta DC-8 was with my grandfather, and that it was his first flight too. I flew commercial with my brother Rick a couple of times, once to Florida and to London with the whole family, once to Memphis, just him and me, and once with Cousin Mitchell through the Hudson River corridor. But those are stories for another time. I got to fly GA with my father, my mother, and my Cousin Mitchell, and with this flight around Maine, also with my Aunt Jerry. But flying with Aunt Jerry was a bit different from all the others. She was the only one who was truly fearful of flying and worked up the courage to do it so she could have the experience with me. I'm really glad she did. But Aunt Jerry's inability to climb into the airplane on her own should have been a signal to me and my Cousin Mitchell. Over the next 2.5 years, she got progressively weaker until Christmas Eve, 2022, when Mitchell went to pick her up at her house to take her out to dinner and found her on the floor. He took her to hospital, and a month later she was gone. Since my mom passed, Aunt Jerry and I would talk on the phone at least 3 times a week. I would always tease her when she answered and ask her how my young hot aunt was doing. She would joke back and tell me that she wasn't that aunt anymore. but I could tell that she loved me calling her that, and that I always thought of her that way. Things feel a bit empty not being able to pick up the phone and call Aunt Jerry anymore. She was the last of my parents' generation that I had left in my life. I have a hard time contemplating the fact that I am now a part of the oldest generation of my extended family. But every so often, I think about our flight in the back of the 182 and how wonderful it was to be able to share that special time. Flying is really a wonderful thing. So this Christmas, I'm thinking of Aunt Jerry. I'm thinking about her Christmas parties and the baked ziti. I'm thinking about her flights and cruise to see Italy and Sicily. And I'm thinking about last Christmas Eve when Cousin Mitchell found her on the floor in her house and had to take her to hospital and not out for Christmas dinner. It's a bit of a melancholy Christmas for me. So do me a favor. When you drink your Christmas wassail this year, lift your glass and toast Aunt Jerry with me. And know that this year, she's celebrating Christmas with Uncle Ralph for the first time in close to a decade. So for the Plane Talking Safety Geeks Airline Pilot Spectacular Christmas Extravaganza 2023, or whatever we're calling it this year, from here in Portland, Maine, in the USA, Merry Christmas from your main man, Uncle Micah.
Thank you, Micah. It's always good. I must admit, I did listen to that as well before when you originally sent it through. And it was nice to hear that so many of your members of the family were kind of secret aviation geeks, as such.
It is kind of fun to have had that in my family. And even Aunt Jerry, who was terrified of the whole thing, but being able to fly with her was something that was really, really special. So please, again, do me a favor when you're having your Christmas toast this evening, give a thought to Aunt Jerry.
Yes, and thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you.
It's a bit sad, though, if you're an aviation geek and you have to keep it secret, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
secretly you miss flying, Nick.
Oh, me?
Oh, yes.
No. I tell you what I miss, and I miss walking through the airport in my uniform. Because the last time I walked through an airport, I felt like, this isn't quite the same. Yes.
Actually, did your airline let you keep the uniform when you left, Nick, when you retired? Have you still got your uniform?
Indeed. I wore my big overcoat into London yesterday because that's actually a really nice coat. It's not one of the average pilot Macintoshes that looks a bit scruffy. It's big woolen thing and very pleasant.
How about you, Jeff? You kept your uniform?
Yes, because I purchased every one of my uniforms.
Okay.
Oh, really?
They were
Well, that's what
provided.
comes from working for a cheapskate airline.
Yeah, it all worked out. The compensation kind of equaled, several uniforms purchased over time, and still have it. And but the last time I wore it was some time ago. But
Jeff, have they ever changed the uniform style during your time flying there, or has it remained the same throughout?
well, funny you should ask that question. Right, I think it was last month they were starting the transition to the new uniform. It's several of the same fashion aspects but they have gone from the choice of a double-breasted or a single-breasted jacket, and the pants are more fashionable. They're straighter, tighter fit. For the new generation of pilots out there. It still looks from a distance to be this very similar to the uniform that we've had for the 35 years that I've flown for Delta, but it's changed a little bit.
I think we went through 4 different uniforms in my outfit while I was working for them.
God, I didn't have to do that. Yeah, it's been the same uniform for me because I never even ordered the new uniform because I knew I was going to be gone by the time they started wearing it. So it's been the same exact uniform the entire 35 years for me.
Well done.
What about you, Matt? With the airline that you fly for, are you happy with the uniform you guys get to wear?
Not really. It's all right. It's changed. Ours has changed as well. So we used to wear black and gold, and then they changed We are getting a new uniform soon, apparently. So we'll wait and see how good that is. They've got these really high technology coats that we wear. I don't know. There must be some special. I don't know where they get them from, but they're able to keep you cold and sweat at the same time.
I thought it was just me.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I don't know where they get them from, but it's this new amazing technology they use in the textiles. Yeah.
The big question
It's
for
part
you,
of
Matt,
the fix
are
for
you-
global warming.
are you
I
going
know
to
what
wear
you're
a
going to
hat?
ask. Can I just? I
Are you going to wear a hat?
I'm going to order the hat. Whether I'm going to wear it or not is another question, but I will definitely order the hat. Yeah.
In our new uniform, when's it coming next year? Summertime?
They're
something like
trialing
that?
it this month, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got the option of a hat. And it's going to be interesting to see who wears the hat and who doesn't.
Mm.
You know,
I'm
it's
a
an
hat
interesting
option.
thing about it's an interesting thing about uniforms. I was talking with the Breeze Airways flight attendants whose current uniform is just khaki pants and a polo shirt, you know, a golf shirt kind of thing. And they said that they hope and they understand that at some point they are planning to get regular flight attendant uniforms where everybody would have some kind of a blazer and look more professional. And they're really looking forward to that because they don't feel that they get the respect that they should be getting as flight attendants because they don't look like they are wearing something that deserves respect. And that made me think about, Nick, your story about when you've had to deal with an issue, you would always put your hat on because it demonstrated respect. And
I
would think
put my jacket, and depending on how serious it was, jacket went on, and then if it was really bad, the hat went on as well.
I think it's a good point, actually, Meek. I think it does add some professionality to the job. You know, it's important because you do need to look smart and look the part because there are times, like Nick says, where you need to have some authority because you might be dealing with something where you need someone to comply with instructions. So yeah, I think it's a positive step. Play airlines, then they wear white trainers with their uniform or something. Yeah.
Blimey.
Nick, how bad did it have to get for the knuckle duster to come out?
Yeah, well, I had a first officer for that kind of thing. I used to push him out in front if it was getting violent.
You go.
Yeah,
Handle
you
this.
go. Yeah, and I give him a big shove and fire him into the
Point of
speed.
escalation, don't you?
Yeah.
I always envisage pilot uniforms as being like the ones where you have to have your iron set to like -20 to iron them because they were like made out of plastic, like the uniform.
Oh, my first one was made by British Airways, and the company just went to some generic store where BA sold black nylon uniforms. The only advantage of it was you could crumple it up into a ball, throw it in the corner of your hotel room, go and get drunk, come back the next day, pull it out, shake it, and put it on, and it looked just as good as it did when it was brand new.
But if any of our listeners have a question about ironing uniforms, APG does have an expert on ironing on the show. And they can
indeed.
always
Well, we
write
have a
into
couple,
APG.
actually.
Yeah.
So Andy, will you be going for the hat or are you not going for the hat?
I think I'm going to do the same as you. I'm going to order it and see how ridiculous it looks. And I'm probably not going to wear it.
My grandmother's going to be very pleased that I'm getting a hat. And I'll have somewhere to put my keys.
Well, in your hat.
Yeah. On the side.
On a
Not my
night
head,
stop.
obviously.
But are they going to have like a nice little gold kind of emblem?
Scrambled egg.
If it doesn't have
egg on, I'm sure.
If it doesn't have any scrambled egg, I'm not getting one.
Yeah, I'm the same.
One of our guys famously sewed his hat to the inside of his arm so that wherever he went, he had his hat under his elbow there, and it just stuck there permanently.
I like that.
I love that.
Nev's sort of looking rather worried. He's used to BA pilots always looking very dapper.
Oh, actually, no. I flew with BA yesterday. Their new uniform, in my opinion, is terrible.
I have to agree. Yes, it is a step backwards, isn't it? Yes, it's not as nice as the previous ones. I was talking to the in-flight lead the other day coming back from Dublin, and she was saying that the girls aren't very happy with their uniform either. So yeah, it's a double failure, I'm afraid, for both the gents and the ladies. But yeah, why fiddle with something that seemed to be all right previously? I didn't really understand the need for a change in uniform.
And Nev, speaking of when Captain Nick talked about a hat being permanently attached, isn't there a BA hat permanently attached to a Concorde?
There is, yes. There is one. I forget which airframe it is, but yeah, as the aircraft expands in flight and as it then contracts during the descent, the flight engineer put his hat into the. I think it's maybe the one at Brooklands, actually. I can't remember if it is or not, but yeah. So that'll never be removed, of course. So yeah.
Well, I've got to go now. Talking of our Christmas spirit, both my daughters are singing with their school at singing Christmas carols at the local farm shop, as you do. So I've got to go off now, so I'm going to go and do that. So
good man.
Oh, good man. Yes.
Spirit.
Yeah.
So
tell them
that sounds like a Love Actually story.
Yes, exactly.
Tell them that Captain Jeff said hello.
Will do. Yes.
Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us, Matt. Lovely to see you. Have a great Christmas, won't you?
Yeah. Take care, everyone. See you
Merry
later.
Christmas,
Bye,
Matt.
Matt.
Bye.
Bye.
And we were left with the 6 wise men.
Remnants.
And there were 6.
Yes. The bottom of the barrel. Yeah. So yeah.
So before we start to wrap up the Christmas special, then, so your final thoughts for Christmas, and what exciting things you guys got planned for Christmas? I'm going to start because I'm getting out of the UK, as both Matt and Andy know. I'm off to Fuerteventura for a week of sun, and living here will be Matt Smith. He'll be living in the house, so he's happy because he's gonna take over the house for a week. So he's going to enjoy himself. Hopefully, he'll have no house parties here. But yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, you've decorated it beautifully. That fireplace.
Oh, I know.
Christmas tree in the background.
Need to get some
just gorgeous.
Some wood on there. It's snowing outside as well.
I see that. Yeah.
But Nev, what's going on with you for Christmas? Obviously, you've got little ones, haven't you?
Yes, the grandchildren. So yes, 6 months and 2.5 they are now. So growing up fast. So we'll be going to see them, having a bit of a family lunch on the 23rd, I think it is, at a local pub just down the road from here, which would be nice. I'm actually taking Sue to see the Edinburgh Christmas market as well. So a couple of days
just to see it, you're not going to let her buy anything then.
Just gonna pop in and go, there it is. We'll be going do a drive-by.
Oh, dear.
That would be expensive if I did that, wouldn't it? So we're not. Yeah. So we're going up the night before, and just going to go around the market. It is actually a very good Christmas market in Edinburgh, I must say. And then we're spending Christmas Day and Boxing Day in York, the fine city of York. That's the one of the Hiltons.
One of my favourite cities. Have a wave at the Shambles for me when you're in there.
Yes.
And Ye Old Star, because I used to love being in there as a student pilot. That was my favourite haunt.
I can imagine.
Oh, and you can also say hello to the girls in the nursing hospital, because I spent a few nights there too.
Unusually, I'm unable to say anything more about that.
I don't think we want to know
The
anything.
court case is still pending.
Was it a medical condition?
It was, yeah, but they fixed me up, no problem. That was very good.
I'm sure they did. But no, York is a fabulous city, a great walking city as well, actually. So, but yeah, plenty of things to do there. So we're going up there for a couple of days as well, and having some nice, relaxing time between Christmas and New Year before we're back to the work. Or Sue won't be, so it'll be a bit of a shock for her. But yes, I'll be going back on January the 2nd. So yeah.
Well, good luck in your retirement, old chap. You deserve it.
Thank you. I've still got.
Are you going to leave with some little special bits and pieces from the company? You're going to sneak into your boot when you actually go? You know, a few extra
Ends.
mics or.
He can't say
Well,
now. He's
I
got
don't
a
think
year to
he'd
go.
say right
Yeah,
now.
I've got a year and a bit to go, so
Oh, okay.
I might be
Well, it's gonna-
starting
yeah.
the
Sucking up
process
now.
already. Yes,
Yeah, start the
Indeed.
job now.
but yeah.
Nick, dare
Yes,
I
mate.
ask? Dare I
Well,
ask what you're doing for Christmas?
Well, Julie doesn't. She thinks she's cooked enough roast dinners, and our pub is just under new ownership, and they have decided to open, and they're putting on a Christmas lunch. So we're going down the pub, which will be lovely. But actually, my thought really is not with what I'm doing this Christmas, but for all those poor cabin crew and pilots who are having to work over Christmas. And, they're often the forgotten bunch because everyone expects them to be, on top of their jobs and professional, whereas they're usually leaving family and friends behind and, having to go. It may be somewhere nice, but it may not be, and they have a hard time of it over Christmas. So my thoughts are always with them and the poor suckers that are on standby, having been called out at 11 o'clock in the morning on standby to fly to Shanghai. I know how it feels. So you think you've got away with it, and then nope, the phone rings and you're off somewhere around the world. So yeah, I do feel for you. Have a great Christmas anyway.
Andy,
And I was going to say, it just must not be quite as much fun for the Virgin staff that are working, because now that you're retired, Nick, they're not flying with Santa any longer on Christmas.
That's very true. I always, on my last flight of the year, I always used to go around with a sack of presents for the crew, and and put my hat on, and the passengers thought it was amusing. All the kids used to ask if I was Santa.
well, you are. To us, you are, Nick. Andy, what's going on with you for Christmas?
Well, for me, this is the first time in well over a decade that I don't have to worry about the call from crewing or anybody else. I've got Christmas, the perks of being in management. I don't have to work over the Christmas period. So on Christmas Day, well, we've got she's nearly 6 now, a 6-year-old daughter. So I've got all the family coming around, and I'm cooking lunch because I'm the chef in this house. So I'm doing lunch for around 9 or 10 of us, and we're just going to have a lovely, quiet Christmas. That's the plan. Probably pop down my pub on Christmas morning, and then we'll see how the dinner turns out after that.
Yes, I was going to say, judging by your previous form,
When you
Always
say
a luxury.
when you say
Yes.
your pub, I mean you have one in your home. Is that what you're saying?
He does.
Back garden, yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it's quite a large premises, unlicensed, I might add. So don't think you can all come round.
If all else fails, Andy, you can always rely on Chef Mike.
Chef Mike?
Yeah.
Who's he?
Chef Mike. You've never heard of Chef Mike?
No.
A ding ding dinner.
Oh, microwave.
Yes.
Very good. No. I like cooking, so it'll be good fun. And yeah, just a nice, quiet Christmas, and then back to it just before New Year.
Sounds good. Who does
Yeah.
the dishes?
Well, I don't care. Not me. I'll just sit in the corner with a port by that point and go, the rest of you can
Port.
sort that out.
Port. Yeah, very nice.
Yes.
Captain Jeff, what's what are your plans for
Well,
Christmas?
my
this year?
lovely ex-wife and children have all invited me over to spend a wonderful Christmas time. No, just kidding. That's not happening. But I'm thinking I need to figure out how to get in touch with all those crew out there flying over Christmas time, Christmas holidays, so that I can enjoy Christmas with them.
Oh, indeed, yeah. To pitch up at the crew hotel in Atlanta. The
Yeah, there
Virgin
you go.
crew are probably
I'll
still
wear my
staying
uniform.
in that round one. Yeah, exactly right. They'll turk you out for a party.
No, I'll be busy doing my singing at my church. That will keep me occupied for most of the time. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and just want to wish Christmas blessings to everyone listening and watching right now.
Well, thank
brilliant.
you, Jeff. Mike,
I'm out of interest, Jeff. Which is your least favorite carol?
oh,
I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I think I love them all. How about that?
Oh, it's,
Oh, you're talking about the song. Sorry, I thought you meant people.
Oh yeah, which Carol? Yeah,
Which
Carol.
Carol? Yeah.
Carol Chan.
Carol Smith is the one that's probably used to.
Fair enough. All right. Well dodged.
Well dodged.
Thank you.
Micah, what's your plans for Christmas? Family, food?
It will be my traditional Christmas. As everyone knows, it's not my particular holiday, but I do have some Christmas traditions. And on Christmas Eve, I will go out just before they close and pick up a McDonald's Filet-O-Fish sandwich and think about my niece Hannah and my father, if you'll remember that story. And then later on Christmas Eve, around 8 o'clock, I will call my college sweetheart, who is still my college sweetheart, and make my 47th annual call to Beth. And we will talk about everything that happened over the course of the year. And then on Christmas Day, I'll go out either on my own or with a friend for Chinese food, which is the traditional Jewish way of celebrating Christmas. All things that have come up at one time or another in my Christmas stories.
I think Jesus actually had Chinese food.
I believe he did, but I think that was the Last Supper.
Oh, okay.
I think they called in for takeout to take away.
Yeah.
Making me hungry. All this
Now,
talk.
come on, I'm just curious, Micah. What is your favorite Chinese dish?
Oh my gosh. I have so many favorites of everything. You ask me my favorite airplane. You ask me my favorite food. Chinese dish. I don't know. Recently I've been, it changes. I've been ordering roast pork egg foo young or lo mein. And recently I found a place that just does fried wontons now that are really nice stuffing. And, and then I can't go wrong without a scallion pancake. Another one that I really like.
Excellent.
My favourite is number 35.
Oh, I like that one.
No,
That's a good one.
47 trumps 35.
Bag of prawn crackers. That would do me.
Oh, there you go. You're cheap. Cheap date.
Oh, I know. Bag of prawn
Mushu.
crackers and some sweet and sour sauce.
Mushu pork.
Oh, talking of soy sauce. I've just done the show artwork with soy sauce in it.
Uh-huh. You'll have to listen to understand why and what the connection is.
Yes,
What a beautiful segue.
I still haven't figured it out myself.
He landed in a field of soy.
I know. I did figure it out.
Oh, you see, yeah.
It was just acting.
I'm sorry.
Actually, that'll be our entertainment for next year in 2024. We'll be watching that A320 take off from that field.
Oh, indeed, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. I think they're going to have to take it apart and cart it out, but there you go.
Well, it might take itself apart if they try.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's one flight I'd not bothered about being
It's,
on
it's not
board.
the call you want from crewing, definitely.
Yeah.
They did fly a 737 out from the bank of the Mississippi down in New Orleans, and Nick
Yeah,
did a
true.
great story about that.
Oh, yeah, but that was a
yeah.
7-3, though.
I've got to admit, that's
like
a bit of a
garbage
tractor.
cart with wings. Nothing can go wrong.
Yeah. That's not going to come apart. I do think
Here we go.
it'll destroy itself.
We behaved ourselves for almost
Yeah,
the
we
entire
did our
show.
best.
Almost the entire show. I know. Right. Guys and girls and people and everyone. We're going to wrap up this Christmas special, and I'm going to say a big thanks to everyone who's joined us. Thanks to Armando and obviously Matt, who had to skip away there. But thanks, everyone. You absolute legends, you all. Thanks for joining us on the Christmas show, the PTUK Christmas show. And just in case anyone doesn't know where Jeff and Nick are from, Jeff, what is your amazing show?
Oh, it's called the Airline Pilot Guy Show, and it's airlinepilotguy.com.
There we go. So, Nev, I think I'll leave it to you to say the last words for our Christmas special.
Well, thanks, Carlos. And it's been another great year. Really enjoyed our weekly contributions and had some great interviews this year. And we're looking forward to doing some more air shows next year as well, weather permitting. So from all of us here on the show, hope you have a very nice Christmas and a happy new year, and look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye for now.
Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.